T-minus 32 minutes and 38 seconds. SpaceX's launch control audio stream is now active, and we should be bringing that to you live on this feed as well. We haven't heard anything yet from launch control, but we do expect to hear some chatter in the next few minutes as the Falcon 9 counts down to liftoff at 8:18 p.m. Eastern Time, or 12:18 a.m. UTC. Minus 30 minutes and 37 seconds. We are now seeing a ring of frost forming on the outer skin of the Falcon 9's first stage. This condensation and frost that's building up on the first stage is indicative of propellant loading. Liquid oxygen is flowing into the Falcon 9 at this time. We can see that visually. This liquid oxygen is chilled down to several hundred degrees below zero. The liquid oxygen tank on the first stage is comprising roughly the upper 2/3 of that first stage booster, and kerosene is now being pumped into the kerosene tank on stage 1. That tank is just below the liquid oxygen tank at the bottom of the first stage, and then at the very base of the rocket there are 9 Merlin 1D engines.
Well, for tuning in tonight, we're going to give it another try. Looks like this is the 5th try. Well, for tuning in tonight, we're going to give it another try. Looks like this is the 5th try. Well, for tuning in tonight, so hopefully things will go well. At least
Now,
it's
T
not
minus
raining.
27
Have a
minutes
little bit
and
of clouds
38
out there,
seconds.
but
Again, tonight's
nothing
mission
looks
is
intimidating.
to deliver 54 more Starlink Internet satellites into orbit. Tonight's launch will push the total number of Starlinks launched to 3,347. Roughly 3,000 of those satellites are currently in space, either providing broadband service or maneuvering into their operational positions in the network. This is what a stack of Starlink satellites looks like in launch configuration. This picture comes from SpaceX. It's from a previous Starlink launch. But the picture shows what the Starlinks look like stacked inside the payload fairing of the Falcon 9 rocket tonight. In this view, you can see the stack of Starlink spacecraft being prepared for encapsulation, with one half of the payload fairing moving into position to enclose the satellites for launch. The satellites are held down onto a payload attach fitting, which is then bolted to the second stage of the Falcon 9 rocket. There are 4 retention rods that actually keep the Starlink satellites firmly onto the vehicle during launch preparations and the climb into space. And once at the proper altitude and at the proper inclination, the command will be given from the rocket to jettison those retention
Hello,
rods.
Rachel.
And at that point, the Starlink satellites will actually fly free of the Falcon 9 upper stage. The satellites will separate from one another through differential drag, and then they'll deploy solar panels and begin
Wow, you're all the way over there.
post-launch testing.
Hey, are you the same Rachel that was involved in that radio show?
Service. Again, there are 54 Starlink satellites on board tonight's mission. Each of these weighs nearly 300 kilograms, about 660 pounds or so. They are solar powered, and they each have krypton-fueled ion propulsion systems that use a mixture of electricity and krypton gas for impulses to maneuver in orbit.
Oh, okay.
Satellites are built.
Yeah, there was a lady from the UK by your name.
Assembly line
I couldn't remember her last
Redmond,
name.
Washington, near Seattle.
But we were putting together some radio show, and she was a voiceover. I thought maybe that might have been you.
So there are 5
Well, I appreciate your
shells in the Starlink network. Each of these is at a slightly different altitude and at a different inclination. Some are in polar orbit. Some are in what's known as a mid-inclination orbit. Tonight's mission will target a mid-inclination orbit at 52.2 degrees inclination to the equator at an altitude of 335 miles or 540 kilometers. The satellites on board tonight's mission will be dropped off in a slightly lower orbit and then use their onboard propulsion to maneuver up to the operational altitude of 335 miles. For those of you not familiar with the Starlink program, the Starlink network, here's what a ground user terminal looks like. If you sign up for the service, you can receive this Starlink user terminal. It comes with a modem, and then you pay a monthly fee to connect to the Starlink network. This square-shaped phased array antenna automatically connects to the Starlink satellites as they fly overhead in low Earth orbit. We're taking a view of Pad 40 full screen once again inside of 25 minutes until tonight's launch. Weather continues to look favorable. Again, this is the 6th launch attempt for this mission. The first launch attempt was back on Tuesday, 5 days ago, September the 13th.
Looks like we have another one in here. Hello.
And stormy weather kept the rocket on the ground throughout last week. And SpaceX called off yesterday's countdown before they started propellant loading. The Falcon 9 was actually lowered.
What I'll be doing tonight is sending up a drone with a telephoto lens,
for some inspections or some
viewing it from Port St. John,
the
Florida.
launch vehicle or the ground
It'll be a live
equipment.
feed.
And then it was raised vertical mid-morning today in preparation for
I'm not the most technical guy in the
attempt.
world, so I don't know a whole lot about this.
Now T-minus 23 minutes and 32 seconds.
How's the weather over in the UK there, Rachel? Well, it's been it's about my 3rd attempt, but the problem is that they always scrub. I don't know if I'm bringing them bad luck or what, but it's like every time I've tried to do this. I've done it on my own. I mean, I've made film on this from this location, so I know it'll work. But it's this is my first time actually doing live streaming like this. Yeah, we've been getting all the rain here lately. Are you getting a good stream? I mean, the video quality? Yeah, I think this is their first attempt, their fifth attempt tonight. Hey, JW.
T-minus 21 minutes and 20 seconds. In the next few moments, we expect to hear the call from SpaceX's launch team, hopefully, that kerosene loading has been completed on the second stage. Again, kerosene and liquid oxygen are the propellants.
Yeah, me too.
Into the vehicle tonight, along with helium pressurant.
Well, the video that will be coming off of the drone is mine, but I've interlaced the stream from SpaceX, as you can see on the screen right now. This isn't me, but in a little while I'll be flipping over to my drone once it's up in the air.
The start of chill down preparations for loading of liquid oxygen onto stage 2 of the Falcon 9 rocket.
Oh, sure, Summer, no problem. I thought you'd be entertained by the live stream from NASA right now, or SpaceX, until I have a chance and opportunity to put my drone up here in a little bit.
From launch control.
I'm limited on time because of the battery length, so I'll probably send it up about 10 minutes before launch.
Fully loaded onto the second stage of the Falcon 9 rocket. And chill down of
hopefully all goes well tonight. I was telling Rachel in here that this is actually my first attempt to do a live stream like this.
Rocket is now underway. This chill down thermally conditions those loading or transfer lines before the flow of oxidizer into the second stage begins in a few minutes.
Oh, cool, JW. What kind of drone you have? Well, there is a no-fly zone, but I'm just right out on the other side of the parameter. Besides, I am Part 107 too, so I have to get authorized to do this, but I do go through. So far, I've been lucky. That was my first drone, was a standard. I've got a couple of those. I got one I had hot rodded up for a long-range flight. I went nuts when I first got into this hobby. Oh, you should do it. It's a lot of fun, man. If you subscribe to my channel, I mean, I have a lot of videos on there that I've done with some different drones of the past, up to the current one, which I have now, which is the Mavic 3 Cine, which I'll be using tonight. Oh, it's not that bad. 107? Nah. You could almost pull up a cheat sheet and follow along with the questionnaire.
Now, T-minus 18 minutes and 20 seconds. Here's a look at some of the major events in tonight's countdown. We've already passed some of these milestones. At T-minus 35 minutes,
I'm 66.
SpaceX's launch team began loading propellants into the Falcon 9. And then at T-minus 20 minutes or so, we heard the call that
I'll be 67 in February.
Its full load of kerosene fuel. The next step at T-minus 16 minutes will be the start of liquid oxygen loading.
I don't know if it's sweet or not, but it is what it is, isn't it?
Propellants
Oh, Father Time kind of rules.
Are densified on the Falcon 9 rocket, meaning they are chilled down colder than they would normally be for use on other rockets, closer to their freezing point.
I'll flip over to me
allows
here.
SpaceX to essentially pack or cram more molecules of propellant into
Hi, guys.
the Falcon 9 rocket. That gives the rocket a performance boost and ensures that the first stage booster has enough reserve propellant to perform its re-entry burn and landing burn for recovery. At T-minus 7 minutes, the Falcon 9's Merlin 1D engines.
Yeah, it was chaotic, wasn't it? Rain coming and everything else. I think I even kind of hit it into the bushes there a little bit before I got it up in the air, just to go up and be disappointed by a no-go.
So in that ballpark, we expect to hear
this is actually my first attempt for live.
Has been fully loaded with kerosene fuel. At that point,
that I feel like it might be successful. Hopefully,
launch. Oxidizer
I'll get the
loading
light
will
on.
continue, however. At T-minus 4.5 minutes, the strong back that you're seeing just to the right of the vehicle will recline back to an angle of about 1.5 to 1.8 degrees. That's where it will remain for the rest of the countdown before reclining back to an angle of about 4 to 45 degrees at liftoff.
Oh, thank you, JW. I appreciate that, man. I can use all the subscribers I can. I have to have at least 1,000 before I can even monetize this stuff. So,
on both stages has been completed.
And 4,000 hours of stream time. But all this helps, you know, everything that's going on right now.
Propellant for liftoff.
Start of stage 2 lock float.
We just heard from launch control that the stage 2 liquid
is that
oxygen load
pickleball?
is now underway.
360 pickleball?
So that's that T-minus 16
That's a cool name.
milestone. At T-minus 60 seconds, the Falcon 9's onboard
JW, I've been
computer will
flying
take
RCs
command of the
since
countdown.
about 2013.
At that
No,
point, the
not
Falcon
yet.
9's onboard computer will
I
in
wear
command
3
of the
hats. I run a
countdown,
recording
monitoring
studio,
all the critical systems
and
for the rest
I've got a
of the countdown
HVAC
to
business
0.
here in Florida.
At T-minus 45
And
seconds,
I do
we
this.
expect to hear the
So,
call from SpaceX's launch
my
director
hands
that
are
they
full.
go for launch. And then at T-minus 3 minutes, the Falcon 9's computer will send the command to the engine controller to ignite the 9 Merlin 1D
cool.
engines. They'll go
360
through an
camera.
automated,
Those are
quick
interesting.
health check that'll last a couple of seconds.
I was watching somebody one night on YouTube that was using one of those to do a live stream, and you can actually interact with it. You know, you can just pick out where you want to roll with it and see. I didn't know you can do that.
8:18 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 12:18 UTC.
Oh, yeah. The tropics, that's normal around here. The reason I'm looking down is I got to look at your all's chat off my phone. Where are we at on time?
Now
8:03.
inside of 15 minutes until tonight's launch, which will mark the 42nd flight of
About
a
5
Falcon
minutes,
9
I'm gonna
rocket
start
this year, the
putting this bird up.
176th Falcon 9 launch overall. And
Yeah,
this will be the
I hope
61st
so.
Falcon 9 launch that's been primarily dedicated to carrying satellites for the Starlink internet network.
Well, I'm going to leave the mic just for a little bit and flip over to another camera, and while I'm putting up the drone, okay? I'll just have to turn things on. If you hear me cuss, don't pay attention to it. I got to check something here, so bear with me. I've got to get my cam on the drone hooked up. There we go.
T-minus 12 minutes, 45 seconds. Here's a view of tonight's expected ground track. This red line shows the path the Falcon 9 will take on its climb into space tonight. It'll head downrange to the northeast from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. We've labeled here the locations of Space Launch Complex 40, the launch pad, as well as the drone ship named Just Read the Instructions, which is positioned about 400 miles or 650 kilometers northeast of the Cape. That's roughly due east of Charleston, South Carolina. That's the position of the drone ship for tonight's mission. So as you can see, the Falcon 9 will head on a path that parallels the east coast of the United States. It will be passing east of the Outer Banks of North Carolina. It will also be passing east of New Jersey, east of New York City, off the coast of Cape Cod, and then off the coast of the Canadian Maritime Provinces. Those of you who may be living along the east coast, if you have clear skies, you may be able to catch a glimpse of the Falcon 9 as it heads to space this evening. Liftoff now less than 12 minutes away. The Falcon 9's upper stage is set to deploy the 54 Starlink satellites about 15 minutes and 21 seconds into the flight, while the vehicle is flying over the middle of the North Atlantic Ocean between Newfoundland and Ireland.
Well, I think we got a live shot there. Here, hang on, let me put my headphones back on. I'm chief cook and bottle washer here. Have to do it all. I will flip it over to the drone view. Yeah, everything looks good for tonight, JW. It looks everything looks pretty good. I have a good feeling about this one. Got about 10 more minutes.
SpaceX's countdown just passed T-minus 10 minutes. Liftoff is targeted for 8:18. 40 seconds p.m. Eastern
When she goes up, everything lights up around here.
12:18 a.m. 40 seconds.
That's part of it that you can't see from their cameras.
If you're just joining us, you're watching live views of Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. I'm Stephen Clark, reporting live from Kennedy Space Center, a few miles away from the pad tonight. If you haven't had a chance to do so yet, please hit the like button on our stream. It helps us gain a bigger audience and reach more viewers with our live coverage tonight. So please like our stream.
They're about 15 miles away from where I'm at right now.
You can also join our Spaceflight Now YouTube channel as a member. We have different membership levels available for you to choose from. And depending on which level you select, you can gain access to exclusive video features. So bonus video coverage is available to our Spaceflight.
Of course, it's not as good as their stream, but like I said, you know, there's a position that I'm in that you can't see from their cameras. Is when I pull back like this, when she's going up, this whole area just lights up like a bomb.
So any contribution you can provide there really helps us continue and expand our coverage. T-minus 8 minutes and 15 seconds.
Oh, I hope it goes.
Here's a view of the flight history for this booster. This is booster number 1067 in SpaceX's inventory of reusable first stage boosters. It's flown 5 times before. It debuted back on June the 3rd, 2021 with a space station resupply mission using a Dragon spacecraft. It launched again last November with a team of 4 astronauts heading to the International Space Station on a Crew Dragon capsule. It launched last December with the Turksat 5B geostationary communications satellite, and then it flew again on April the 27th of this year.
Oh, that was a while back there, JW.
To the ISS.
86?
And most recently it launched on July the 14th of this year with the CRS-25.
Oh yeah, I saw the
ISS.
I saw the explosion of one of them.
We're going for flight number 6 tonight.
Happened to be standing on a building working on an air conditioner when that happened. I've got quite a few stories.
Now inside of 7 minutes till launch.
Engine chill.
We've heard the call now from SpaceX Launch Control of engine chill. This is the start of the chill down of the 9 Merlin 1D or M1D engines that power the Falcon 9's first stage. This involves flowing a little bit of liquid oxygen through some of the plumbing into the engine compartment.
That was pretty tragic. Very tragic.
To thermally condition those engines for startup. The oxidizer used by the Falcon 9 is chilled several hundred degrees below zero, so this chill down flows some of that oxidizer through the engines to get those engines down to the proper cold temperature to safely receive the full flow of liquid oxygen during the ignition sequence and the flight.
Make that screen a little bigger for you.
We've heard now the call of stage 1 fuel load complete as the countdown nears T-minus 6 minutes. So the Falcon 9 has been fully loaded with 46,000 gallons of,
in case you're curious, I'm about 200 feet up off the ground.
A highly refined kerosene fuel. Liquid oxygen continues flowing into the vehicle for another few minutes. That will be terminated at about T-minus 2 minutes or so.
Hi, Jennifer. I was wondering if he's going to pop in. I was just telling everybody that it looks really cool from here because everything out in this area right here all lights up. It's really neat. Looks like we got about 5 minutes.
T-minus 5 minutes, 10 seconds. The next major event will be the retraction of the strongback at the pad.
It's a little blurry right now, but when I get a little light on there, she'll sharpen up.
Falcon tanks are pressing for strongback retract.
Well, so far everything's going good for me tonight. Boy, the other night was hectic.
Strongback retract has started.
Yeah, that's what I'm pulling right now. Pickleball. That's what you see down in the bottom right corner. Give you both a best of both worlds, hopefully.
Before the call that the strongback retract has started. That's the structure next to the Falcon 9 out at pad 40, moving to an angle of about 1.5 degrees from the vehicle.
I'll take it up a few more feet. Not that it really matters here, I guess. I'm up about 230 feet right now. I hope so. I'm looking for epic. I love these night launches.
Now approaching T-minus 3 minutes. Strongback has indeed retracted to an angle of about 1.5 degrees.
I've got 76% battery on my drone, so I should be able to maintain hovering for a good little while.
Liquid oxygen loading complete. We heard the stage 1 liquid oxygen load has just completed. Stage 2.
Oh, that's great there, Pickleball. 20% chance of abort. That's even better. It's just the other way around the other night. Oh, if I just had a little better camera with a little better lens on it. But, you know, hey.
T-minus 2 minutes and 20
what do you get for a rubber biscuit? Yeah, they're still working on it. Oh, I don't know what to say about that. I really don't. They got all these great minds out there working on something that's very archaic. They'll probably be trying to put it up again in a couple more weeks or so. Maybe
Falcon
3.
9 rocket awaiting launch from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station with 54 Starlink Internet satellites.
Stage 2 LOX load complete.
And we just heard the call.
15 miles.
Stage 2 LOX load complete. So the Falcon 9 has been fully loaded with about 1 million pounds.
It really sharpens up a lot when I have a little light out in the distance, which I'll have plenty of that in just a little bit.
8:18 p.m. and 40 seconds Eastern Time.
Ground closeouts has started.
Now, it will be going up in my screen first before it goes up in the other one because there's a lag between SpaceX and me. Mine will probably launch first.
T-minus 60 seconds.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
We've heard the call that Falcon 9 is in startup. The onboard computer on the rocket now in command of the countdown. T-minus 10 seconds. T-minus 5.
There she goes.
There's engine start. And liftoff. Liftoff of SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, hauling 50 more Starlink Internet satellites into
That's
orbit.
what I'm talking about.
Falcon 9 heading downrange now to the northeast. We're hearing the rumble of those 9 Merlin 1D engines producing 1.7 million pounds of thrust now.
Look at those clouds.
Falcon 9 climbing into mostly clear skies tonight.
I'm just now starting to hear it here.
Now passing T-plus 90 seconds. I hope you enjoyed that rumble from the 9 Merlin engines, generating 1.7 million pounds of thrust. Falcon 9 has climbed above a thin cloud layer over the Space Coast. Now about 30 seconds, 35 seconds or so until main engine cutoff. That's when the 9 Merlin engines will shut down on the first stage. A few seconds later, we should see stage separation.
That's
then
about
we
it on
should
the
see
launch.
ignition
There
of
was a
the
cloud
Merlin
cover out
vacuum
there.
engine on the second stage. We'll
But
stand
I
by
hope
for
you
those
guys
milestones
enjoyed.
for the next, 15
I will be doing this
20
more
seconds.
often. And actually, I've landed a deal up in Titusville. There's a friend of mine up there that owns a restaurant that's going to allow me to put a pan tilt zoom high dev out on his second deck in his place. So I'll be having that along with my drone feed here shortly. I'd say probably within shortly's 2 months. But anyway, that's an update on what I'm going to be doing here. So I don't know.
Looks like
What's
we have
this?
ignition also
Oh,
of
that's
the
just a
second
plane.
stage. Merlin vacuum engine now
Hello.
producing about 200,000 pounds of thrust. This is a 6-minute burn to inject the 54 Starship
Sometimes I
satellites
get
into
lucky,
their
and at night
preliminary
you can
transfer
see.
orbit,
Oh, there it goes, right there.
passing 3 minutes
No, it ain't.
into the flight now.
But you can see the boosters land. I'll keep it on. It's usually in this
Now
area
switching to
right here,
SpaceX's
and I'll keep
stream
it
of
down
the
just for
launch.
just a little bit. I still have
Seeing
59%
onboard
battery,
views
so I can
from the
continue to
first
hover
stage
for
booster
just a
on
little
the
bit.
left-hand side of your screen, and on the right you're seeing the Merlin vacuum engine.
Let me
doing its
pull up
work.
there because they have
That,
a
nozzle rolling red hot.
little
That is
deal.
normal, producing again about 200,000
They'll show it
pounds
kick
of thrust.
back.
The first stage is
Here, let me
heading
put that
toward
on there.
landing on the drone ship. Just read the instructions.
When it starts
400
coming back,
miles
I'll try to
northeast
look
of the
for it
Cape
to see if you
tonight.
can see it coming back
You
in.
can see the
The first stage.
hypersonic grid fins have extended, and you're seeing periodic pulses from coal gas thrusters. Those thrusters using nitrogen
Oh,
gas
thank you,
to,
Rachel.
reorient the booster.
Everybody in
to the
here
proper
subscribe.
orientation or
I'd love it.
attitude for re-entry back into the atmosphere. Everything looking good. 4 minutes, approaching 4 minutes into the flight. Now Mark T plus 4 minutes. The Falcon 9 now at an altitude, the booster at an altitude of 130 kilometers, the second stage passing 145 kilometers now.
Acquisition of signal, Bermuda.
We're hearing call-outs now that the downrange tracking station in Bermuda is receiving signals from the upper stage as it heads northeast up the eastern seaboard of the United States.
I think that's it right there. No, it's a plane. Shit. Oh, sorry. Pull back.
Both vehicles are following nominal trajectories.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to see it tonight, guys. I'm going to go ahead and call it. But I really appreciate everybody coming by tonight. I really do. I mean, I only got, 17, 19 people in here, but that's beautiful. I will make this happen every time I possibly can. So, until we meet again, okay?
Now
You guys have a
approaching
good
6
night
minutes into the flight.
and take care.